The Cottage, 70 Padnell Road, Cow Plain, Hants, England, 5th May 1993. Patience, as I begin this yet again, now everyone's asleep, the BBC World Service News is on its perfect line, along that line once ruled invisibly across the globe, to where that watch of mine ticks on the inside of your wrist. Mosquito thin red second hand, you can refine us to a single now jerk now, 0 meridian. It's an imaginary letter written by somebody who's now living in England but formerly worked in Nigeria, to a former colleague and close friend who was a lecturer at the same university as the letter writer, but for various reasons she's partly been removed from her job, and now she runs a small bar in the township just near the university, which is called Patience Parlour. My experience of Africa changed me. It made me understand what exploitation, what poverty was, and the irony is that in a way, it's like the traditional European who goes to Africa, gets something and comes back to England with it. With me, it was knowledge and understanding, but at least the knowledge is not something which I've taken away from somebody else. So that's some comfort. Yeah. The poem's written in a traditional form called terza rima, which is originally borrowed from the Italian verse of Dante, who wrote his long Divine Comedy in that form. And the joke that people make is that it's very easy to start, but it's quite difficult to stop. I think in some ways using a metre and rhyme carries the music along for you and gives you a greater freedom, say, to bring in ideas. I come from a musical background, although I'm not much of a musician myself. My father was a professional pianist and my mother was a professional singer. They were trained at the Royal Academy, but they went into popular music. The kind of music in those days, which was popular, during the war years and afterwards, was very much derived from the music which had originated with the slaves, and then was taken up by people like Gershwin and Jerome Kern and others, many of whom in fact had been refugees from Nazism. So the theme of racism and popular music and the history from Africa seemed to me to fit in. So I'd been brought up on that. I think it's about love. One reviewer said he thought it was a poem to a loved friend, and I think that's it. What I've tried to to show in some of the stanzas is that it's very difficult to separate a place from a person. We, as our individualism, tend to do that in the West, but I think I can't separate Patience, even though she's a fictional character, from the background in which she lived and which made her. And I suppose if I look at myself, I wouldn't be able to separate myself from the background that's made me. Although with our education, we tend to think of ourselves as an individual with a line drawn around us. And I think that's one thing I learnt in Africa, that we have many souls.